Dear you, it usually started in your body before it reached your thoughts. A shallow breath you didn't notice you were holding. A jaw that stayed clenched long after the conversation ended. Shoulders that never quite dropped, even when the room was quiet. You didn't feel anxious exactly. You didn't feel sad. You just felt on. Like a switch that never fully turned off. You told people you were okay, and it wasn't a lie. You were functioning. You were capable. You were doing what needed to be done. But ease, that sense of being able to settle into a moment without scanning it for problems, felt unfamiliar. You moved through days with alertness instead of presence, readiness instead of rest. You noticed it during small pauses, when silence felt awkward instead of calming, when free time felt oddly uncomfortable, when doing nothing made you restless rather than relaxed. You didn't know when this started. Maybe it happened gradually, the way habits form. You took on responsibility then, a little more. You learned to anticipate needs, avoid mistakes, smooth edges. You learned that staying one step ahead kept things from falling apart. And somewhere along the way, your nervous system learned that okay meant prepared. You weren't unhappy. That's what made it so confusing. You couldn't justify the tension you carried. There wasn't a single crisis to point to. No dramatic story to explain why you felt so keyed up all the time. So you assumed it was just how life worked. You assumed adulthood felt like this for everyone. You adapted. You filled quiet with noise. You filled pauses with tasks. You filled stillness with plans. And when people asked how you were, you answered honestly, I'm good because you were. Just not calm, just not at ease. Just not settled in a way you remembered from earlier versions of yourself. Sometimes, late at night or early in the morning, you felt a soft longing for something you couldn't name. Not excitement, not escape. Just the wish to feel relaxed inside your own skin. To not be bracing for the next thing. To not feel like rest had to be earned or justified. If you're reading this and feeling a quiet recognition, it's because this experience is widely shared but rarely spoken about. Many people learn to live in a constant state of readiness without realizing what it costs them. They become okay at the expense of ease, capable at the expense of softness. You weren't doing anything wrong. You were responding to a world that rarely slows down. And your body learned to stay alert because it thought that was safer. Being okay without being at ease often comes from a subtle belief that something could go wrong if you stopped paying attention. This belief doesn't arrive loudly. It forms quietly through experience, through moments where being prepared helped, through times when letting your guard down led to disappointment. Through learning sometimes early that stability required vigilance. Your past self understands now that this state wasn't a personality trait. It was a pattern, a learner response. You became good at managing because management felt safer than surrender. You stayed alert because alertness prevented surprise. And over time, your system forgot how to relax without guilt. Ease requires trust. Trust that nothing needs immediate fixing. Trust that rest won't lead to chaos. Trust that you can be present without being on guard. And trust is difficult to build when you've been the one holding things together for a long time. You also lived in a culture that praises productivity and resilience. Being busy was rewarded. Being calm was optional. You absorbed the message that slowing down meant falling behind. That rest was something you did after everything else was handled. So even when you had time, your mind stayed busy searching for the next task, the next improvement, the next thing to optimize. Your past self sees now that ease isn't the absence of responsibility, it's the absence of constant self-monitoring. It's not about doing less, it's about not evaluating every moment for efficiency or outcome. And when you live without ease for too long, you forget what it feels like. You begin to mistake tension for normalcy. This is why rest didn't always feel restorative. This is why vacations sometimes left you restless. This is why quiet moments felt awkward instead of comforting. Your system wasn't broken. It was conditioned. Another layer of this experience was emotional. You learned to regulate yourself quickly, to move past feelings efficiently, to stay composed. That skill helped you navigate life, but it also meant emotions didn't always get space to land. They were acknowledged briefly, then redirected. Over time, that created a low-level tightness that never quite released. Your past self understands now that ease doesn't come from pushing tension away. It comes from allowing yourself to feel without immediately managing the feeling. It comes from letting moments be incomplete, from allowing stillness to exist without purpose. You weren't failing at relaxation. You were unfamiliar with safety and stillness. Once you see it that way, the judgment softens. You stop asking, "Why can't I just relax?" and start asking, "What would help me feel safe enough to rest?" That question changes the entire direction of the conversation you have with yourself. Imagine a moment, nothing dramatic, where the room is quiet and you don't feel the urge to fill it. Your breathing slows naturally. Your shoulders drop without instruction. Your thoughts drift without demanding resolution. That moment exists for you, even if it feels distant right now. Ease is not a personality you're missing. It's a state you can relearn. You don't have to force it. In fact, forcing ease only creates more tension. What you can do is begin to notice when you're bracing unnecessarily. When your body is preparing for something that isn't actually happening. When your mind is scanning for problems in moments that are already okay. Start small. Notice your breath without changing it. Notice when you're holding tension and release it gently. Notice when you reach for distraction out of habit rather than need. These are not tasks. They're invitations. You are allowed to rest without earning it. You are allowed to be calm without explaining why. You are allowed to let moments be simple. Ease grows through repetition, through teaching your system that nothing bad happens when you slow down, through letting yourself sit in silence a little longer than feels comfortable, through choosing softness in moments where vigilance isn't required. Some days, ease will feel unfamiliar. That's okay. You're not doing it wrong. You're retraining a system that learned to survive through alertness. Be patient with it. Speak to yourself the way you would to someone who has been strong for a long time. You don't need to give up responsibility to find ease. You don't need to change your life entirely. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to let your guard down in safe moments and notice that the world doesn't collapse. That realization builds trust, and trust builds ease. If you're reading this and thinking, "This sounds like me," know that you're not alone. Many people live in a state of constant readiness without realizing it's optional, and many are slowly learning, just like you, that calm doesn't have to be rare. Take a slow breath. Let it be enough. Let your body learn that it's allowed to rest here. You don't have to stop being capable to feel at ease. You don't have to lose your edge to gain softness. You can hold both strength and calm, responsibility and rest, and over time. Okay will begin to include ease again. Not all at once, not perfectly, but genuinely, that's not something you have to chase. It's something you allow, sincerely. You